Christian Novels Audiobooks, The Story of Wayne and Jean Vozzolo, the Cross Penny Series, Kisses of Mercy, Episode number 124. Woody's white car bearing U.S. government-issued tags followed Mark, Gwen, and Trish all the way back to Sunny Hills. True to his word, Mark stopped ever so often and helped Gwen get down so she could head to the restrooms. At one stop, Woody got out to stretch his legs and walked over to Mark. "When is your wife due?" "The baby's due in February, but unfortunately, Gwen is not my wife. The baby is mine, but she and my best friend thought I was dead in the Philippines, so he married her, keeping a promise he made to me to take care of her, but he died in a car crash at the beginning of September," Mark answered. Woody was speechless and went back to his car, shaking his head. In spite of several stops, they made it back to Vozzolo Produce before the evening meal. When Willie moved the last piece of equipment in the first line, he hopped down from the forklift. He knew that setting up the remaining production lines would go much quicker. He headed to the bunkhouse to clean up for supper. Colton had placed a quickly sketched drawing on Willie's bunk of Willie and Beth laughing together at breakfast that morning. "Wow, that kid can flat draw. This is a gorgeous picture that I will cherish of a gorgeous woman whom I wish I could get to know better. I will always treasure this memory, but as long as she wears that wedding band, I can't. I just can't," he whispered. Willie carefully placed the drawing between some folders in his briefcase and wrote a quick thank you note and placed it on Colton's bed. "I do still wonder about his bicycle," he whispered as he gathered his things for the shower. Wayne grabbed the microphone in the mess hall. "Wow," he exclaimed. "Homecoming has started so early this year. I am told we now have one production line up. As long as there's construction, a forklift, and folks sleeping in Tony's shed, we will not run the line because it needs to exceed the guidelines for food production and cleanliness and sanitation. With that said, we still might give it a tiny test run knowing that the results will only be for display, not consumption. That little test may just happen in the morning, if Beth, Willie, and Carrie says it's ready. We'll try to cool the place down before bedtime tomorrow night. Thank you to everyone who has worked on it, and a special thank you to Willie, Beth, and Carrie. You were invited to join us over there after supper and see the progress." "The fence line is actually looking like a fence. You guys," the amigos interrupted, "and Sophie and Trish." "So corrected," Wayne laughed. "You guys and Sophie and Trish have worked together and have done more than Jean and I could possibly dream. And those of you spending the night behind the pink line in Tony's shed will be delighted to know that tonight both bathrooms out there are working. Feel free to use both of them during the night. We'll keep our ladies out after 9 o'clock. Okay, ladies?" The guys sleeping behind the pink line broke out into cheers, and the ladies nodded their heads. "Many of you guys know each other, some of you don't, and we will have more guys here tomorrow and the rest of the week. Every one of you has been pastored by Pastor Lormore. He retired from Sunny Hills Church this past Sunday, but has graciously agreed to preach Friday night. Who all was in the bunkhouse when George Gorman was out there?" "Yep, I see those hands." "He is now the new pastor and will be preaching here Sunday afternoon." As Jean wrote on the blackboard, and as you all know, Sunny Hills Church is simply not big enough for all of us. "I want to welcome our newest teen, who just happens to be a girl. Trish, these are some of your big brothers. Woe to the person that dares mess with you or with Sophie. Sophie and her twin brother Sammy are living with Chester and Carrie." There was clapping and cheering and a few "way to go, Chester." Trish's brother, Travis Todd, is a wounded Vietnam warrior and hero. All the men stood and applauded. A few had been in any branch of the military saluted. Trish started crying. "Sophie, so many others have treated him so badly," Trish whispered to Sophie. Wayne continued, "I would like Vozzolo Produce to give Travis's Navy friend Woody a big Vozzolo welcome." The men stood again and hollered out, "Thank you for your service." If you're wondering, he's sleeping in a camper tonight, but make him feel at home, and if you get a chance to give him the nickel tour, he's only staying with us tonight and in the morning. Be sure to give your thanks to Jean's kitchen crew. There were more applause and cheering. "Let us thank God for his blessing, and let's allow our Navy friend the privilege of going first. And let's let the head table and Trish go first tonight. I think Mark needs to get Gwen home," Wayne observed. Mark nodded his head. "Long trip, long day. Everyone at the head table was treated to a small bowl of soup and a piece of hot buttered cornbread and whatever else they wanted. Willie sat at the opposite end of the table from Beth. It was the first time Willie and Gwen had tasted the soup. "Man, this is delicious," Willie said. "So this is what's going to be coming out of Tony's shed?" Wayne nodded his head. "It's one of Beth's recipe." Woody agreed. "How long do you think this dried soup would last if it in an airtight container and kept in a cool environment without bugs or mice?" he asked. "I don't know for sure," Beth answered. "What do you think, Willie?" she asked, leaning her head forward to see him. "Probably you can only label it for a year or so, but my guess it would be good for years. But this bowl has a life expectancy of just a few short minutes," Willie answered. "Woody, after supper, you feel free to wander around with any of the guys, even the amigos." "Beth, would you and Willie like to go with Jean and me to the bus station tonight?" Willie asked. "Thanks, but I really need to look through a couple more manuals," Beth replied. "Not tonight. I'm tired too, but thanks," Willie replied and stared down at his plate. After supper, everyone, including the second shift kitchen crew, was over at Tony's shed to see how things were going. Then Eduardo took that second shift kitchen crew back home across the border. Chester, Carrie, and the twins went home. Mark left his key to the camper with Woody and got his mom's keys. "Oh, Woody, there's showers here in the mess hall bathroom and towels and soap and shampoo, so help yourself," Mark told him. He turned and talked to Wayne and Jean. "We'll meet you over at the bus station, Mr. and Mrs. V. Then I'll get the girls back where they need to be." Woody asked a number of the men questions as to how they came to live at Vozzolo Produce, and when they actually lived there. Beth grabbed a couple of manuals, including a government-issued dry produce handbook. She looked around for Willie, but he was already out at the picnic table, sitting there alone in the moonlight. Colton watched as Beth walked over to the tables. "Good night, most good sir," she softly said. "Good night, Beth." He stood up and went toward the bunkhouse. Colton took his unused paper napkin and a sharp pencil out of his pocket and sat down at the moonlight picnic table. Fortunately, on this night, the dingy, empty bus station was indeed empty.